Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use, tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is from United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner, dated 26 December 2014. Another heartbreaking story, but, so many children to exploit. Where to start? Where to end, right? Johan is a Restovec, a word in Creole, meaning to stay with. She was sent away from her family at the age of 9. I don't like how that's worded. 2 years later, she lost her left hand in the 2010 earthquake, which devastated Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. Restovecs are mostly girls and can be as young as 5. Their parents hand them over. To other households, hoping that in exchange for their labor, they will be fed, housed, and educated. The Haitian-based NGO Restovec Freedom Foundation says, in recent years, these children have become victims of a contemporary form of slavery. They are now trafficked by recruiters who are paid to find a source of cheap labor for families. So that's basically the middle class taking advantage of the poor. That's why we don't need class systems of cheap labor for families, themselves quite poor, who live in neighborhoods where there's no basic infrastructure, including water and electricity. Francois, a child advocate from Restovec Freedom Foundation, met Johan in 2011, living with a woman she called Auntie. Johan cooked, cleaned, and carried 20-liter buckets of water up the road to the house. I can't stand people that do this to children. Narcissism, anyone? She was abused and not allowed to attend school. Yeah, you know why she wasn't allowed to attend school? Because then someone would find out. Facts. Francois persuaded the householder to allow Johan to go to school, but she was often late because of her domestic work, and eventually she was made to leave the house. With the support of the UN Voluntary Trust Fund. By the way, I just want a full disclaimer, I don't trust any of these organizations. I'm just saying I don't trust them. Maybe some of them do good work, I don't know. UN Voluntary Trust Fund on Contemporary Forms of Slavery, Restovec Freedom Foundation, it's a good 6'6" right there, placed Johan in the care of her father. Where was he when she was enslaved? Isn't he the one who sold her out? And supported her return to school. A grant from the fund covers her tuition fees and assists Restovec Freedom Foundation maintain its relationship with Johan and her family so that she can rebuild her life. They got a lot of explaining to do. Johan is thriving and doing very well at school, so well her principal has suggested she may skip a grade. Read Johan's story and others in the human faces of modern slavery. The UN Voluntary Trust Fund on Contemporary Forms of Slavery is financed by state and other contributions. Established in 1991, the fund is managed by the UN Human Rights Office and is awarded several million US dollars. Awarded several million US dollars in grants to more than 500 organizations worldwide to support projects delivering humanitarian, legal, psychological, and social assistance to victims of slavery, like children. A drop in contributions since the financial crisis is now limiting the number of organizations the fund is able to support. In addition to traditional slavery, modern forms of slavery include, I'm waiting until they mention Scientology, include serfdom, forced labor, debt bondage. Debt bondage is a huge. If you guys go and do research on indentured servitude, child trafficking, or even just labor trafficking or sex trafficking, the first thing they do is get someone indebted. They do it in India, they do it in Canada, they do it everywhere. They do it to us, actually. I mean, you know, it's different, but the worst form of child labor, the sale of children. Forced and early marriage. Forced and early marriage. It's a way to get around the legalities, you guys. The sale of wives and inherited widows, and trafficking in persons for exploitation and sexual slavery. So I'll leave the link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.